Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? We are back with you again for another week of the Success Journey Show. Marlon, what's good, bro? How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Ricky, how you're doing? In the episode,
Good.
let's talk about this because they know now that we record the episode and pre-record the beginning. I just want to know how Nicole is doing. I know today.
Yeah, for sure, man. By the time you guys hear this, she would have probably been done with her last infusion, actually, chemo treatment. We had one today, and then by the time you guys hear this episode, it'll be her last one. And I mean, so far, you know, it's a journey, dude. It's walking those paths unknown. You know, every time you walk in there, not sure what the reaction is going to be. You know, how they're going to be able to treat you. You know, I had to get a little not loud, but you know, I had to put my foot down a little bit today, man. They didn't want to let me up in the room, you know. So that's another whole story coming. But yeah, we're just grateful that she's getting through these, you know, resting, and you know, it's really forcing me to think a lot about my next steps. It's really forcing me to think a lot about my next step. What am I going to be doing? How am I going to be supporting my family at a higher level? What have I built myself up to at this point in life, so that I can offer more to, you know, for my family and do more for my family. And I'm the type of person where I being a provider, I take seriously, you know. And I'm always thinking about moves I can make for now and also moves I can make for the future, you know, and making sure that I'm getting the most out of it. It took a long time for me to realize that, you know, I have value, you know, I have more value. And honestly, I don't care who's listening to this, honestly, than what I receive right now, in organizations that I'm in. I mean, it's just flat out what it is, and the organization will tell you that too. They don't pay you at market rate, but you know, it's now it's like looking at, okay, hey man, I'm in a situation now of life and death, you know, with my family, life and death, yeah, literally, you know. So it's like, Rick, what are you gonna do now to keep put it in your hands and make the choice? And that's what we're talking about today, man, with our guests today. Marlon's gonna introduce the guest, so I'll do the part of just telling you guys, listen. Well, actually, no, Marlon, what's going on with you, man? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no. I'm here. You know what's good, Rick, is that we do this podcast and we even take it for granted, you and I, because we're saying, oh, we're just doing a podcast and we enjoy what we're doing. But I know a lot of people, when they talk to, oh man, I love your podcast. Thanks for the podcast. They send this, and we are looking at everybody else's journey. And it's crazy to see the journey. Think about when we started 2.5 years ago ish, or two years and a little bit ago, and what we're thinking about doing now. The vision, we never really had a vision of what some of the stuff that we're embarking on. So it's still crazy to see, you know, your mind shift, my mind shift at the same time. I'm growing from learning things from you. You're growing from learning things from me, and the collaboration that we're putting together is just so crazy to see that happening in real time, and it's being documented. And I know Ricky gets the bulk of the when it comes to the technological stuff and putting stuff together and everything. I've been trying, people. I've got a new
yeah.
And I put stuff together.
He's rocking, man. His computer better than mine, man. He's killing it, man.
It's better than his, but the production on my side. So I read it through Rick, but you know, I'm gonna really be invested in this one because I think we're gonna do a little mini docu-series, and this is gonna be something, because we went and we looked at a property, went to sit down and talk to some people. We're about to embark on some serious different ventures right now, and I'm just happy for where we're taking this thing and what we're doing and what we're showing people when you really live and not only just talk about it but execute.
Yeah, guys. We mentioned it in our episode that this is the last interview episode, guest episode I believe the last guest episode for this season. And if it wasn't, this was we're making it this one. Yeah, I went back and I do all the logging and saving of the episode. Man, we've been keeping this season on since August.
Yes.
And we haven't
ABC or something like, yo,
yeah,
that's not a season, right?
yeah. So we definitely are. We will be we won't be gone. By the time you see us again, maybe a couple weeks. Then I'll have my background back, like I say, a little later in the episode. But still, one thing that I have loved about this, like Marlon is saying, man, just the growth. And I was actually thinking about it today, man. And man, it's like 20. When we say, oh, we've known each other for 20 something years,
Yeah.
right? And literally been 20 something years.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of the exact number, but it's over 25. I want to say it's around 25, something around there. If it's not 25 yet, it's pretty close to it, or not over that. Yeah, dude. And when we went back, we were doing the same thing.
Yes, music.
Yeah, if it was in a different area. Yeah.
Driving to the city, singing here.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I was like,
you remember this? If people heard us put a track together, let me tell you, people, we put a track together to sing a song, and we used the church's tape thing. Went and we sang the different parts harmony on the track.
Yeah.
And took a tape.
Yeah.
What was the CD at that time?
Tape
at that time, down to the city to perform in a talent show.
All within like 24 hours.
All within 24 hours. Wrote the song. Well, revamped the song. It was the song that was already. Well, we revamped the song, put the song together. Ricky played.
Yeah.
We did the harmonies, we did everything. Took it down to the city and performed. And oh my goodness, man, we were getting it, man.
Man, and I was like, wow, man, still moving in just different areas, man. And I'm just like, I'm excited about. I mean, it was a time where he was doing military. I was doing whatchamacallit, and just career, whatever it may be. Yeah. And then the God brought us back at the appointed time for now. And we couldn't have timed it any better. And as you guys, we're talking about journey and traveling with you guys. We're journeying and traveling together, man. And I'm really enjoying the storybook that's being created of Madden Inventors. As we're moving, it sounds like a law firm.
Yeah. Madden Inventors.
Yeah, right. So yeah, guys, we're excited. But we have a phenomenal episode to get to. So let me be quiet so you guys can really listen to this episode. I'll let Marlon introduce, but before he does that, I want to remind you, go to the Success Journey Show.com. www. I've never said www.successjourneyshow.com. All right, go on there. If you can't remember that, just type in Success Journey Show on Google. You got it that way. Go on there. Sign up as a subscriber. Sign up to join the squad. Sign up. Also go to our shop. We have t-shirts. We got new t-shirts in. Yeah. We got a new fire color that came in. Whew. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I don't even have it right. I should have it right with me, but it's okay. You'll see it soon. And go ahead and order t-shirts. Support this message of journeying, traveling. We got the bags. Yes, got the bags on there. Books. I actually had a copy on me. Oh, I put it in my bag, my Success Journey bag. But yeah, guys, check all that stuff out. SuccessJourneyShow.com. Go to every podcast platform. You can find us on there. Leave a review. Let us know how you're doing, what you're enjoying about these, and some potential people that you want us to interview on this show. All right, Marlon, I'll turn it over to you to introduce the guests, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Hey, this week we're changing it up because, usually Ricky's always introducing this person, but I had to fight him. I said, Rick, man, I got to introduce my boy, man. Let me do it. And he gave me he said, all right, man, I'll let you do it.
Succeeded. Yeah. Here you go.
I have to pay him a little bit of money, but that's all right. That's all right. Said our guest, the best part of our show, our guest, this brother. It's funny how connections work because you would think we knew each other for 50 years, but we met through mutual friends, and his spirit, the way how he moved, I just loved it. And I just I had to get him on the show because of what he does. But Will Carroll's on the show with us today. And hey, brother,
welcome.
Happy to have you, man.
Awesome to be here, man. I appreciate the invitation.
I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Man. Hey, won't you go ahead and, for the people, so we can get into your story, let them know a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you're all about.
All right, cool. So, young guy, Will Carroll. I grew up in Indiana, actually in the Midwest, and I've lived pretty much all over the U.S. But my story, I'm the youngest of 5 boys, and so I grew up in the country, in the cut, not the nicest neighborhood, and kind of fighting for survival. You know, you're the smallest, you got to fight for the last meal, things of that nature, right? And grew up not having a whole lot, but the thing that taught us not having a whole lot was to value family and that family time and the outdoors. Like, we didn't sit in front of the TV, right? We were forced to get out the house until the street lights came on, right? And then you had to be back in the house. That was kind of my thing. And I think that's resonated with me for the years, you know, ever since I even pursued in school. You know, I thought, I grew up not having much. I wanted to pursue a career that would give me money so that I could take care of my parents, right? To give back. But at the end of the day, it was kind of like, I don't need a whole lot to be happy for me. It's really just making sure everybody else is taken care of. So that's really driven me. And that kind of led me into the route that I went into a healthcare. I knew I wanted to be a doctor of something, but I wasn't really sure. And I thought I was going to go to anesthesiology route. But I had a couple of mentors had gone that route, and I was like 12 years of training in school. I don't think I want to do that. Like, you know, I don't want to do that. So I decided to actually intern at a hospital locally, and I interned in the pharmacy department. And I said, okay, I'm going to start pre-med, but pharmacy is kind of an idea. And so I went to Southern Adventist University in Tennessee. That's where I met Rachel Magistry at the time. Rachel Magistry is who I went to her birthday party, and I met Marlon her at that weekend getaway. It was Florida. I think it was Florida where we were.
Florida, right there between Orlando and Tampa.
Yeah, I think it was Denton or something like that. It was something crazy, but that weekend was epic because I didn't know anybody in the house but Rachel. But you would have thought we were like the closest friends in that weekend. It was an amazing experience. But that right there, that Southern experience taught me a big lesson about pre-med definitely wasn't for me. So I finished up my 2 years at Southern, and I went back to Indiana so I could go to Ball State University because, you know, being an in-town resident, the tuition was like $8,000 a year versus Southern, you know, was like $25,000 a year. Yeah. And I was playing, you know, I thought I was fly, you know, I had a little attention. So, you know, I wasn't worried about class or anything. I was trying to just be social. But I went back, put my head in the books, got into Ball State. I finished an analytical chemistry degree there. And I thought I would do a little research while I applied to pharmacy school.
A little.
Right. I mean, so I got accepted at Purdue and Purdue University. They were number 2 at the time, right? And so I was like, right on. I went on to Purdue and decided to do a dual degree program. I did my doctor of pharmacy while I did another degree in medicinal chemistry, molecular pharmacology. So thinking I'll use that analytical chemistry, do some research, maximize the experience. And I left there, went through rotations, decided to do a residency, internal medicine, infectious diseases, left there and went back to Indiana from my hometown, the hospital where I was born. I came back as an infectious diseases specialist. And I hung in there for a number of years, actually just about 2.5, 3 years. And I was at the point I was dating this girl who did neurology down in Huntsville. And have y'all been to Huntsville? Y'all been to Huntsville?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know why anybody want to move there besides Oakwood. Let me be honest. Unless you go to NASA or Oakwood, like I just didn't want to go to Huntsville. But we at that time it was one of those things of when I first started out at that hospital, people would question everything that I said. People call me Doogie Howser in the elevators just to be like rude. Wow. I had physicians who would cuss me out when I would call and tell them, yo, that's like not the right antibiotic on that patient, or trying to advocate for patients, and they literally would get on the phone and just be talking to me like I'm a stranger on the street. But we had those like mobile phones, so I legit would just walk to wherever they are while we're still on the phone until you're face to face, and you just hang up the phone so you can continue to talk. And it's amazing how that courage disappears real quick, right? It's like the tone adjusts, and you create that atmosphere of listening, y'all. We're both here for the patient, right? I'm here advocating. We're on the same team. Why are you trying to fight me, right?
Yeah.
But after so many years, they didn't even ask me questions anymore. They never questioned anything I said. It wasn't a challenge anymore. So I think some people find that as like a good cush job, but that's not me. I actually like a challenge. So that's when I had to figure out, do I want to go to Huntsville to be with her, or is she going to come up to Indiana? And the cool part was the hospital really valued me at that point, that they offered me the chief of infectious diseases position above the physicians.
Ooh,
wow.
And in 24 hours, they created a neurology position for her to move her.
Wow. Man, thank God kept you out of Huntsville.
But listen, the crazy thing is, she asked me, she said, are you going to be happy here in like 2 more years? Or are you going to be bored again?
So you had a good woman.
Right. I did. Yeah. And now someone will be bored. And she's like, well, why would I move here?
Oh, man.
So I ended up, I didn't go to Huntsville. I went to Atlanta.
Okay. There you go.
I went to Emory. And so I don't know if you ever try to drive from Atlanta to Huntsville. There is no good straight way to get there. You either go through Confederate Flag Freeway, or you go up to Chattanooga and then back down, right?
Yeah.
Worst drive ever. I think I went twice. It was like, I ain't going
Sorry.
I ain't going no more. And needless to say, at least in Atlanta, I met the coolest crew of my Adventist folks there, my singing group, everything like that. Career really took off there. Started just as a clinical manager, and then I got connected with like this co-op across multiple states, leading a clinical division. And then I left there and became a consultant, a healthcare consultant with a new company that allowed me to then travel the world. I lived in Puerto Rico an extended period of time, a lot of work there. So that's family, that's home right there now.
Yeah, no. See the pictures.
Bruh, I know. So that experience was pretty cool because it gave me the mindset of always trying to look for opportunities to optimize or to improve or to fix things and be able to assess very quickly. And you're forced to be able to interact with people, build rapport really quickly, right? And your credibility. Yeah. And so after years of doing that, it kind of led me to my next area. So did you have a question about that? Were you gonna say something?
No, you're good.
No, I'm loving the story.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't want to stop you. Go ahead.
So I started as a regional clinical director when I first got there. Within a year, I moved to a VP position. And so I had done consultations across the US, and the company was continuing to grow. So I moved into a regional vice president over a clinical division and was supporting about 22 hospitals at the time across a variety of states. And so at that moment, I was traveling about 150 flights a year. There's 52 weeks in the year. Just do that math real quick. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So I used to keep 3 suitcases at all times, 2 in my car. So one that I would take out, I would fly back into the airport, swap out a suitcase, and go back on another plane. No joke.
I was watching your journey, bro.
Yeah.
Envious.
Well, it looks good from the outside.
Yeah, I know.
But the crazy thing is, you know what? Like, it got to the point where I only felt lonely or weird when I was home. Like, I only stayed in Hilton hotels and I only flew Delta, right? So I get to my hotels, I get on the plane. You always get first class because you get diamond status, right? So you just get into your thing, right? And then you go home and you like, ain't a soul here. Like, don't want to sleep in the bed, like, because it don't feel, it's just weird, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But so it's interesting because for that moment in my life, I was like, this is the life. Like I can travel wherever I want to, whenever I want to, how I want to. But after about 4 years of that, I was like, okay, I need something a little bit more stable. And that's when Kaiser Permanente was recruiting for a national vice president position.
Yeah.
And so I got connected with that, with the recruiters, went through 7 interviews for that position.
Wow.
Went to California 3 times. And was eventually offered that position, joined the organization. And that was my first time overseeing billions of dollars, where we no longer talked in billions.
Yeah.
Which I had never done before, right? That just is interesting where at one point, if somebody offered me $1,000, I'd be like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking about, okay,
thousands.
right, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, you're like,
and then
oh,
you
man.
get to the point where you're like millions. Right?
Yeah.
But then it got to the point where millions don't even make you flinch. It's like we don't talk about anything unless it's a billion, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, right?
You're like,
hey, and I remember, let me tell you something, Rick. And I won't even say numbers of what they were doing, right? I call Will. I'm like, yo, man, you're in Cali. Because as soon as he was transitioning to Cali, I was kind of leaving, right? And I'm going to tell some stories about Will, because Will, I'm going to tell you about that weekend too, right? So he's leaving. I'm like, yo, yeah. He's like, yeah, man. So I know he has a house like everywhere he goes or whatever. He's like, yeah, I'm not living I didn't get my house yet. And then he told me his conditions that he was under. It was like some celebrity status. I won't say what this guy was doing. I was like this. He's like, yeah, I'm just doing this and I'm staying here and they're taking care of me for this until I get my house and I'm getting my house built. And I'm like this. What in the world?
Listen. So let me be very clear. Like when I got my offer letter from Kaiser, like I don't know who gonna hear this, but I don't care. I don't work for them anymore, right?
Yeah.
But I had to go to my financial planner to interpret my offer letter because there were pages and pages and pages.
Wow.
Their executives are stacked. Like they move you, they sell your old house, they buy your new house, they give you stipends just on top of stipends just because you're an executive every month. You just get money on your check just because you're an executive in case you need it for dry cleaning or in case you need it for a taxi or something. It's just crazy.
Wow.
So to your point, I got into real estate and I just, everywhere I move, I buy a house, right? Just buy a house and keep it, right? So, and those are my tax break. Those are my children.
Yeah, there you go.
So you live and learn, right? So,
yeah.
But California was good for me because number one, most people know what Kaiser Permanente is, right? Especially if you're in healthcare, $83 billion organization.
Yep.
I was a national executive for them. So now you're at the point where your compensation is not even like calculated anymore. It's just a different mindset. So now if you are interested in a position, you don't apply for positions anymore. You just post somewhere that you're interested and they contact you. You don't fill out applications. You just, right.
Yeah.
So I posted on LinkedIn that I was open for new opportunities. And really it's because of a few factors. Number one, my boss had a lot of microaggressions, would undermine me, would try to intimidate our leadership team. She actually did some bullying as well. And she would talk to me in a very condescending manner, actually in the presence of others at times.
Wow.
So being the individual that I am, I document everything. And so I sent it to HR and they were aware. She had multiple issues before and investigations, but they had never terminated her. And so I told them, I'm not staying underneath these circumstances. And so at that point, I told her, like, I don't have to work. I'm here because I want to work. So you choose if you want me here or not. And she told me, well, you don't seem happy that like you're here. You should just go find another job somewhere else. And it's interesting, like when you get to that point where it's no disrespect, but you know, I prayed about this position. So God opened this door and brought me here.
Correct.
And so thus you can't close the door, right? So to make sure you understand the role that you play. You're just here for me to learn the lesson that I'm supposed to learn. And if you decide to leave before I do, then so be it. Or if he tells me to move, then I'll let you know. But until then, I'll be here.
I love
And
that.
and that's how we operated for a long period of time. Eventually, I decided that I wanted to open up another option. So I posted on LinkedIn an interview with several healthcare systems, UC in Colorado,
Yeah.
Florida, Adventist Health,
Yeah.
Texas, and New York. And it was so cool. New York just resonated with me. That team up there felt real personable. It's a young leadership team too. Young health system, only 6 years old and growing like wildfire.
Oh, wow.
They just created my chief executive position as well. So it was a brand new position, bringing in somebody who could create a service line, make a change, build rapport, mentor a group of young docs and stuff. And that's right up my alley, right? I live for that. I live for that. So I just said, okay, let's talk about it. And they presented me an offer. And I told them it was a little shy of what I thought it would be. And they came back and offered me like 3 times of what I said it was shy. And I was like, okay. Got a deal there. Yeah. So we decided to, at that time, I talked to, this is the thing, being an underrepresented minority, I'm always checking with HR as like my best friend. I'm always looking at EEO, all the different things to make sure, number one, you're not going to catch me slipping. Number 2, I want to make sure that I'm covered. So I'm going to investigate and research truly what are the terms for termination for rehire. Do I have to give you a 60-day or a 2-week or whatever? So we confirmed all of that. And then I actually connected with all of my counterparts, the other senior leaders, and I basically created a whole bunch of emails and I timed them so that my last day, every executive received a personal email. I scheduled one-on-ones with all of my team members to let them know and work on a transition plan. And then at the end of the day at 4:59, my boss received my resignation note.
Oh, wow.
So everyone else had already been notified.
Yeah.
And then she got it at the end of the day. And it was, hey, so I'm going to be gone for the next 3 weeks. I'll be back for 1 week. And that'll be my last day.
Oh, man, I love this guy.
And because if you work for a certain vindictive leader, you'll realize, they will create your last week will be hell, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it worked out so that they didn't ask me to work anymore. So that month to get situated in New York to find a house, right? And it just worked out, man. So made some really good friends, learned a ton about business, and my business acumen increased tremendously in budget management and CapEx and OpEx and all the right stuff, right? That has already provided a lot of value moving into this new organization. Connecting. But tons of lessons learned, tons of challenges, but it's interesting that journey where it leads you to where you need to be when you need to be there.
Man.
Will, man, I'm telling you, your story is so, and I know Ricky's gonna dig into it. I'm gonna tell the story before, right? So he told Destin, or wherever Florida we were, right? So I come here, and no, it's not Destin. Destin is further down.
Denton, wasn't it? I think it was
Denton. I think it was. And you even stayed at my house one time too. Remember that other time when we had?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
All right. So Will is there, right? And like he says, we don't know nobody. The only person I know is Rachel and her husband William, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. And I know. Do I know Aretha and them yet? Yeah, I know Aretha and them. No. That's the first week I'm meeting everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Mom, everybody, right?
Yep.
So my wife, there's something wrong with her foot. So you got to think about it. I like clothes and I like to dress. I'm coming in, I'm seeing this brother, he's all fly. You know what I'm saying? Very, very put together. You know what I'm saying? I'm like this. Okay. My wife has something wrong with his foot. This single man says to my says to my wife, "Oh, what you said you were the disease, whatever, some nice doctor, right? And I can look at your foot." So he's in the room with my wife's foot in his hand, and I'm out there like this, like.
I don't even remember that part.
I'm like, is this brother trying to make a move on my wife? And Rachel, is he a doctor? He's young to be a doctor. Is he really a doctor?
I don't even remember that. Was this that weekend at Rachel's birthday, or was this at? Oh, really?
Rachel's birthday. You had. I'm peeking in. I'm trying to be not insecure, right? So I'm peeking in the room like.
Actually, I think because I don't remember that part, but I do remember you mean mugging me a little bit. I mean, I wasn't quite sure what was going on in the market at the beginning. But yeah, I forgot all about the.
Look at this Billy D. William brother over here trying to.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But then you that was like the second day you met the personality, and then we had the Broalition.
Oh, yeah.
We had the Broalition, so we came together against the girls, you know what I'm saying? Or the women. So we had to, and then we started learning. And then on Saturday, all the brothers had on like green, some form of black and green.
Yep.
Without us even, everybody had on some form of black and green.
Yep.
On that Saturday. So it was fun, man. It was fun.
That was a good weekend.
Yeah, that was a great weekend.
Yeah.
So Rick, I know you have a million questions.
Oh yeah, dude, man. Your story, man, is phenomenal. It resonates as well on my end, and I love we don't have too many people talk about their corporate journey in the way that you laid it out, and you talked a very high level. Very, very high level, but you told the story so well that everyone was so intrigued. But I want to back up because there are a lot of people that are, let's talk to the people that are, we usually talk to people that are early career when we do talk about this, like, oh man, this is what you need to do. We also talk about people that have already completed they're on their way out and they're retired or entrepreneurs now. But one people that we don't necessarily talk to, and I want to turn this into their direction this time, is that mid-level manager, mid-level career individual that is saying, hey man, I want to grow to that point in my career. What moves do I need to make? What do I need to look at right now where I'm at so that I can continue climbing the ladder? You made a lot of references to relocating in different areas, finding the right fit, and some people don't understand that at all. They feel, some people are still in that mentality, oh man, you guys stay with your company for 10, 20 years, get vested, and then they're going to move you up, the ladder. So let's bring it back down to those individuals. Let's talk to them where they are right now and just share some insights that you came across when you were going on your journey and what you've learned through that. Yeah.
I think that's key. What you said about, staying in and being loyal. Some people think of loyalty being to that one organization, right? And that if you're loyal, they will reward your loyalty, right? Not too many people still operate in that space, because if you think about it, if I'm trying to be the next level up, oftentimes there's just one person there and there's many people on your level. Yes. So how do you, number one, if you're trying to stay locally, how do you strategically put yourself in the position that you will be the one selected for that promotion, right? Mm-hmm. But still your odds are, if there's 20%, right? Yeah. It's very low. So I think that if you want to stay committed to that organization, I would say be open to exploring other opportunities outside of your current role or your current department, current division. Mm-hmm. How do you do that? Explore additional stretch assignments. Mm-hmm. There are always, like I'm thinking about from a healthcare perspective, right? But any organization, there are always these projects that come up that will need a leader, right? Mm-hmm. There will always be looking for key strategic partners that they can pull together to be in a focus group or whatever. Mm-hmm. Volunteer your services without asking for additional compensation, right? Yep. This is a delayed, you're investing in yourself, right? And that investment will pay itself off. So it's not about that immediate gratification. So I think you can take that commitment to the organization approach, but I think I take the commitment to my profession.
Mm.
Really, it's the commitment to my passion and my purpose, which happen to be aligned with my profession.
Mm.
So I think a lot of people don't pause long enough to determine what is my purpose and my passion. And then how do I align my profession so that all of them are in the same line, right?
Mm.
Many times you separate the two. You try to do your purpose and your passion on the weekends or after
Correct.
hours, right?
Yep.
So I think that if you commit to your purpose, you commit to your passion, you commit to your profession, you don't have to be committed to one organization because you're going to grow. And eventually you're going to outgrow an organization. Like my stance is 2 to 3 years. If you look at my resume, CV, every 2 to 3 years, I'm moving up.
Yeah.
And my approach is within 2 to 3 years, I should have mastered what I was supposed to learn from this organization. I should have set it up for success. I should have hired the right people who will succeed, like follow in my footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
And the organization can still function without me. It will not run as well, but it will function without me if I've been a good leader.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my goal within 2 to 3 years. And so I've strategically positioned myself to move elsewhere. I think in order to do that, though, you have to be okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yes. Man, I love that, Rick. And the reason why I brought out the book is because the laws of success, it says exactly that if you're given a job, do more than the job requires.
Yep.
And a lot of people, and I'm telling you, especially in DOD or let me not say, when a lot of people, when they have a job description and you ask them like, hey, can you do X, Y, Z? They pull out their description. They're like, not in here, bro.
Wow.
Right? And they don't know, just like you're saying, because it's your passion, you're willing to say, I'm going to do this outside of the realm of, I'm not going to get the compensation for it, but I'm doing it because it's my passion, one. And I'm doing it because it's something that and it's also that synergy that you're talking about, those three different things that you're talking about. So I'm very happy to hear you push that. And I want people to hear that, because we call our people that listen to us, we call them travelers, because everybody's on the destination. And we're
on a journey. Yep.
Yeah. So the travelers, if you're out there listening, that is one of the laws of success. And it is, when you get a job or anything you're doing, make sure you do it better than what you're getting paid for or whatever the situation is.
Absolutely. I find that having been a young person of color, eyes are on me anyway.
That's something we're going to touch on.
Yeah. So for me, I always felt like I had to do better than other people.
Yeah.
And so there's a question of what drives that, right? Some of that may be intrinsic. Sometimes it's your parents, especially if they were West Indian or from a certain culture, that you have to do well, right?
Yeah.
But I also realized that when I was a resident, one of my attendings could ask my non-melanated counterpart, hey, what should you do for this patient? And they would say, we should give them aspirin. And he'll say, good job. Will, what should we do this patient? I'm like, we should give him aspirin. Why? Because that's what you give a person with a headache. Why? How does it work? I would get grilled with questions, right? And it started to like really wear on me after a while. So about 2 to 3 weeks into this rotation, there was a specific article that this physician kept quoting. And he kept saying, so that's why drug A is better than drug B. You know, this article was written, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And everybody else is just eating it up, right? Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to cuss on the thing, but I was kind of upset, right? sorry, Tyler. I was upset. So, and that time I was like, you know what? I'm concerned because the article that you're referencing actually doesn't suggest that drug A is better than drug B. Let's look at the actual clinical trial setup. These are actually morbidly obese patients. The dose wasn't adjusted for them. You didn't have the same type of people managing their therapy. If you had them, would the outcomes have been the same? How do you come to the conclusion? Because we're empowered to subject it. And you're looking at secondary measures, not primary measures. Like, how are you coming to this conclusion? Because based on what I read and what I interpreted, it's not actually true. They're actually equally efficacious. That's what I said to my attending on round. And it was like this awkward silence, residents, fellows, med students. And he was like, see, guys, this is what I'm saying. Don't just take what I say. You guys should know what I'm saying. He flipped this whole thing. on it. And so I asked him, like, at the end, I said, why do you always make it so much harder to me? Like, do you just not like me? Like, he said, I always ask you because I know you know the answer. And I use you to teach everyone else. You come prepared, other people don't. And so that's why I said, well, you should give me a heads up because everybody can't take what you know what I'm saying? Like, that could have gone a whole nother different way, right?
Exactly.
Work out, you know that, right?
Oh man.
So,
but Will, do you ever get just tired of having to prove yourself?
Yes.
You know, you get to that point where you're just fed up, like, man, I put the time in, I put the hard work in. And I know, and I'll talk personal experience, you know, there'll be times where, you know, other people get promoted, other people get managerial opportunities, other people get people to work under them. And I've been here sweating blood and tears. I've been here putting in work. I've been here representing the organization in ways that to make the organization look great. But yet when it comes to an opportunity, there's always that question, you know, that question, why? And it's like, man, get to that point, man, I don't know if I want to try this hard anymore, man. Why do I have to try so hard? You know, when you got to those points of frustration, like what did you do to keep pushing forward on your journey?
I have to remind myself that I am in charge of my destination, of my journey.
Yeah.
I'm here because I choose to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Each of us are in the positions we are in because we choose to be in those positions.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot relinquish your ability to choose.
Mm-hmm.
That's your power.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It is at the end of the day. And so even if that, I'm also a purpose-driven life type of person, and I realize that things happen for on purpose. I don't think that this happened happenstance. So if I'm not promoted for that position, I still glory in that situation because that is me avoiding something
that exactly.
That means something better is ready for me, right?
Exactly.
Or I'm being prepared for something greater, right?
Yes.
That means I'm not finished with this assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think you have to have the ability to zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe in living an intentional life. You can't just let whatever happen, just float this wave and see where it takes me. That is not the way I operate. If you want to get from point A to point B and you've never been there before, you can know that it's due east and just know eventually if I drive from New York, as long as I keep heading west, I'll eventually hit California, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it might be wise to pull out your Google Maps
and see
and be intentional about getting some directions.
Yeah, make sure you don't end up in Oregon. Yeah, exactly.
You'll get there much faster. It'll be much more efficient. You are actually have forethought and foresight into where you're headed to, right?
Yeah.
Versus just figuring it out. About it.
So when you went to that transition, sorry, Marlon, let me get this one more.
No. I know this is right up your alley too, Rick.
Yeah. This is what I live, man. This is what I live, you know? So you get to that point and you're like, okay, I'm leaving that mid-management type level. And you talked about a little bit how they gave you the position, I forget the hospital you were at, where you were overseeing the doctors. And, you know, when you transition from that mid-level management type of position to that executive role, talk about that switch in mindset and how you have to approach the everyday job.
You're right. It's interesting. As an executive, my interpretation of that was I got to up my game. So immediately my dress changed. I was always known for my bow ties, my cufflinks, my suits. I was always on point, right?
Yes.
So as an executive, I'm like, I always had to look the part and I had to always be prepared because the higher you come up, you have to know the answers and or be resourceful to know the people who know the answers.
Yes.
Because that's your role. Your role is no longer to execute. Your role is to be strategic, to set the vision, hold people accountable, and open doors when they hit the barriers. So it's a shift in mindset from me having to work every day. And this is what I actually work with some of my executive counterparts here in New York. Some of them were frontline physicians who have been promoted into these executive leadership meetings, right? And so we get on them, and I've only been here a few months, but you build a friendship, you find opportunities to talk to people and coach them.
Yeah.
And so one of our physicians, I notice on call, she'll say, we should treat our patients with drug Y because blah, 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 blah. And this is why I think we should do, what do you guys think? And I'm like, you're the chief quality officer of the organization. So I called her afterwards and I said, are you exhausted? She's like, oh my God, yeah, that meeting was so exhausted. I said, you know why? He said, why? I said, because you are trying to tell us how to execute and you're also trying to prove yourself. We already know what you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like Haloni, just say do X and if we got questions, guess what? We're gonna ask you questions. Ain't nobody got questions. You ain't gotta explain yourself. And if you don't know the how, it ain't your job to figure out the how. Tell somebody else to do it.
Delegate. Learn how to delegate at that level for real.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and it seems it's a challenge because you're used to executing, right? You're used to being that person who has to make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so as the higher you go up as a leader, you have to be willing to retain the information, coach someone underneath you who doesn't know how to do it, but don't do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
That requires tremendous patience, right? And it takes more effort, but your return on that investment
much greater,
much greater.
And you work less.
Absolutely.
Yes.
In the future.
In the future. Yeah. Not in the
Yes.
But up front, bruh.
Yeah.
Where you out? But it's an investment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Hey, man, I'm telling you, I love this. The reason why I love this is because of where I am right now in my Marine Corps career. And it's funny how the civilian and Marine Corps, when you go through the ranks, is the exact same concept. Because you see some guys, they were the best at that like you said, at the execution level. Mm-hmm. And then when they come up to the strategic, you're like, why are you crumbling? You were so great down here.
Yeah.
What happened when you came up here? They can't forget you're not the doer anymore.
Yep. And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
You will tire out you will be exhausted.
Yep. Yeah. And especially, listen, like 4 + 5 = 9, 2 + 7 = 9. As long as you give me 9, I ain't got to tell you how to give me 9.
Get there. Yes. Yeah.
And you will drive your team members crazy because you always want 4 + 5. And they're like, always is 6 + 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
And that's okay. You got to be okay in relinquishing control in order to be a good leader.
Now, let me ask you this, and I know probably Rick want to ask this, but I'm going to get him before. When you get up to those levels, you stop seeing a lot of people that look like you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
that happened way before that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring me something.
Yeah.
For 18 years. So you start seeing people along the way. You're going up. You're seeing people that don't look like you. And this is going to be a twofold question. First of all, like Rick said, and you kind of you covered that already, but how you have the weight on your shoulder as a minority Black male have to prove yourself. Now, also, sometimes they bring you up there and they just want you to be that token. Only be there just for the face of the company to say, we hired a black person. And now when you come into the room, you know what I'm going. Just cover that for me.
I'm with you. Listen. Let me be your token. Pay me.
Pay me.
Because guess what? I'm going to ride this train and I am going to milk it for all it's worth because listen, it's for my good, not yours. Yeah. You're going to benefit from it because I just exude excellence. That's just what I do. We as Black people have an amazing ability to accomplish whatever we decide we want to accomplish, whether that's to do absolutely nothing or to do amazing things. We are good at what we decide we want to do, right?
Yeah.
So let me be very clear. If I decide I'm going I'm going to rock this place, I'm about to rock this place. And I can do that from a token position. I can do that from a sincere position. But what I charge us to do is not even waste time trying to determine if I'm the token or not. What my mentor always told me, one of my mentors back at Purdue, who is Jackie Jimerson. She was in charge of the multicultural programs. She had two slogans. It was project excellence, and that was always.
Yeah.
And then number two was get more of us to the decision-making table.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is literally what drives me to keep moving to the next table.
Mm-hmm.
Not kidding you. I don't know, like she ingrained that thing in my brain. I don't know how she did, but since like 2003,
it worked.
Get more of us to the decision-making table. And every time I move to another organization, move up in the ranks, you say, I don't see us, right?
Yeah.
So
when I went to Kaiser,
yeah,
my first leader that I hired was a Black guy from out of Atlanta, my first senior leader.
Yeah.
Next project manager, Black female, internally. Listen, I'm about to make this whole side of the organization. Y'all gonna be like,
I almost called you for that job you put up the other day for the assistant. I want to be your assistant, sir.
Bruh, you gonna be my EA? Come on. But I said, this is the thing. But what I do, and I have to tell my organization this. I've told multiple organizations this, that I remember when I was at Southern and I went there, I'm on the dean's whatever, when you give money or have an endowment scholarship, they have breakfast for you, right? So I'm at this breakfast, all white hair, Caucasian people. I'm the only brother of color. And they're talking about all this future stuff. So the president asked, are there any questions? And I raised my hand and I said, I love the diversity of the campus. And I'm just wondering if you are doing any kind of focus initiatives to ensure that your faculty and staff reflect the diversity and the people that you actually serve on this campus. And you would have seen all the people that turned around and looked at me.
Yes,
and
sir.
The president said this to me. He said, apply. He said, we just don't get diverse pop people that apply here. And so how do you interpret that response?
That's a very loaded question. You know that, right? Because it's very tricky, because sometimes you could get, so it's the same thing with Delta. I'm going to answer this with a little thing. So Delta said they're going to look for more diversion when it comes to pilots. Mm-hmm. And what I hear people say is, oh man, I want my pilots to be the best. So I'm like, so you're saying that Black people can't become or not the best pilots? So it could be a twofold question. When you ask that question, it could be, some of us don't think that we deserve to be there, or we're scared to ask for the position, just like you said.
Okay.
Or sometimes
they're saying there aren't qualified.
They don't let the people that's supposed to come up there actually come through the process. Like you said, you had 7 interviews. Sometimes when you get, and they see at the first one, they're like, nah, you're not coming up here. So it's a twofold question. That's what I have to say. I don't know. You're looking for an answer. I want to hear what you want to say.
Did you have something you want to add?
No, go ahead, man. I'm good. Monica, hit it. Yeah.
My stance on it is you are passing the buck.
Oh yeah, that's number one.
You are not taking accountability, because so my response is that people that look like me, we do really excellent work. And so thus people who have us employed do extra effort to retain us. So you have to be intentional about recruiting me, because I'm not looking to come here. But if you want me, then you will come and get me, because that's what happens in every other organization.
Yeah.
So when I talk to so this is how I get people to get, when I hired all the people of color at Kaiser, I didn't just post a position and all the people of color started applying. No, I got on LinkedIn like I've been doing since I posted these 2 positions, and I look for every qualified candidate that is a different color, the rainbow, right? Every single one. And I reach out to them personally. I follow, wait for them to respond. And I say, hey, how are you? What are you up to? I noticed your profile. Awesome. I'm building an amazing team. I think you'd be a great fit. Can we talk more about this position? Any interest? 50% say I'm not interested, but I can find somebody who might be, and I'll send them that way. I've had multiple conversations. And now one of my top candidates is a Black, I think she's Guyanese, or she's a Black girl who is qualified, who didn't even know about the position, who I've already got recruitment, like the recruiter talking to her. She's one of them. I talked to this Filipino girl yesterday from DC who I connected to the recruiter. I'm reaching out to people, and I make sure the most qualified people who look more like me know about it and get into the conversation. And then I let the rest of my team who don't look like me decide who they want to choose.
Exactly. Yeah.
They choose. They score it all.
Yeah.
I make sure we're at the table.
I love that. I love that because a lot of times we've been talking about that a lot of times when we had a lady last week, she last week because yours would be after hers. And she was saying, we were saying a lot of times we go to, like, you go to the high level position and then you just kind of say, yeah, okay, I'm up here, I'm good. And you just stay by yourself and don't want to bring nobody up, at that hand behind. And we find that a lot in our community that we don't do that. Yeah,
I agree. It's a challenge. I think number one is I don't know that we are always taught to operate in that way. So that's why I really value my mentor saying, get more of us there. Makes sense. If she hadn't said that, I don't know if I would operate this way.
I mean, some of us, we feel that it's or taught that it's wrong to do it that way. And what do you mean? Are you bringing all your people, or are you I'm lost of words right now. It's late, but it's just like you can't do it that way. Oh no, man! Look, then you hear the statements. Oh, everyone's gathered in the same place. They're all gathered in one area. They're all the negative stuff when it comes to multiple African Americans or whatever it may be, whatever culture it may be, outside of being a white individual in the workplace. There's always a negative connotation to it. So, yeah,
you're right. But you know what? My response to that is,
show me all the white people on your team, and then let's have this conversation.
Yes.
Exactly.
Everybody on your whole team
is white.
Exactly.
Right. So that means you chose all the white people. I think this is a racist issue. I think we need to talk to EEO about your performance, because I think this is questionable. If everybody looks like you, I don't see any females. Like, this is this ain't right.
Right.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they ain't got nothing to say about your organization.
Yeah. They're like, no, you're fine. You're good.
Right.
Now, a little bit. I know you're tired from delegating. Tired. He had a long day. I know his wife did. She did her third.
Yeah, third chemo, man. Third chemo.
Wow.
Yeah. His wife breast cancer. So she went through a third stage of chemo today. So I'm even appreciative when Rick does stuff like this on the day that she did it. And I'm happy that we did it too, because I think people need to hear what you got to say. I think they need to move you now till you just start talking to Black executives for real. I'm telling you, because they need to hear this. But now that you did that, a lot of times people get in a job where they get a big offer and they get a big stipend and they get money on top of money on top of money on top of money, and they just say, "Wow, I'm good," right? But you said, I'm going to diversify. I'm going to have real estate here. I bought the nice pond in New Orleans that I'm waiting for the invite to get to when you build the nice cottages and everything. And all these different things you're building. You come to New York, you buy a spot, you're putting the pond there and all these different things. What makes you think that, hey, listen, I know I'm making a lot of money from being an executive, but I'm also going to diversify. How can you talk to those people that are not diversifying when it comes to stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that I've always been I read a lot of books, right? So especially leadership, investment. 40th birthday this year, so 40 books. That's my target, right? So for me, I've always been taught that you need to have multiple streams of income.
Yes.
And so in my current job, your job may have a few different streams in itself, but I'm always looking at other opportunities. My other thing is I don't ever want to have to work. And the only way you'll never have to work is if you have other ways of getting income.
Yes, sir.
And so I learned early on that you can buy a house for like on an FHA loan with 3.5% down. And if you move, and as long as you have somebody rent it and cover your mortgage, it's as if you didn't buy the house. So you can start over and buy another house. And I was like, what? And when I was like, for real? So that's how I left Indiana. I went to Atlanta and bought another house, right? And then I was like, so you can have more than one FHA? You can if they're in different states. Oh, word. Okay. Well, let's check out, and so that's what I started to do. And my thing is, I don't rent. I just feel like rent is a complete waste of money.
I'm with you.
Unless somebody else, like the organization that's recruiting you, is going to cover your rent. Otherwise, you need to transition into a home.
Some type of asset. Yep.
Exactly. Some type of asset. Absolutely. So that's kind of what led me down that road. And again, it's more of, how do I I like real estate because I use it as a savings account. I don't ever make money on my real estate, and that's intentional. I always take a loss every year. So if you're my tenant, you're going to get the best incentives. Listen, first month free, last month free, you get a 50% off special, right? It's going to be some kind of way that I'm going to lose money this year because I need a tax break on it, right? But at the same time, my principal is reducing. So if and when I need to cash in on it, like last year, I sold California and Atlanta and bought New York. And so, but I hadn't made any money on Atlanta for years, but the value doubled in 5 years.
Yes.
And so it worked itself out. So I think if you're smart about it, you just have to be mindful about, as you enter different tax brackets, if you don't have tax breaks or deductions, you have to be mindful about, this is investing in yourself. Don't try to reap your investment right now, because you will do yourself a disservice. It's okay to lose money. It's building equity because you're building money, but it's a savings account and it's shelter from taxes. So you're not being taxed on that right now.
Correct.
You know this. I know I'm trying to be like Marlon when I grow up. Listen. So that's why I took the route that I took with going into the real estate, working with a financial planner, because the reality is we weren't taught generational wealth.
No.
And so I'm all about, my company's called the Carroll Legacy. And it's because I'm all about legacy, changing the narrative, and building generational wealth. Whether when you look at me, you don't see that I'm a billionaire, and it doesn't matter if you know it or not, because I legit feel like I could lose everything that I have right now. I can liquidate all of my assets and I'll still be okay. I'll be fishing on a farmland, growing my vegetables, and I will still be happy, because jobs and the money don't define me. They don't actually bring me happiness. They just allow me to be able to touch more lives, to be able to help other people navigate when they need it, especially if they're emergency. I'm able to do that without actually causing any undue harm to my own self. And that's the way I just want to be able to live.
I see it, man. I see that you take care of your parents. I see, and condolences, of course, but I see you take care of your parents. I love that you're always, especially everybody but Mom Dukes. I know you always you got it right here, baby. I love that.
Yeah, I got to.
Yeah, man, I love it. Hey, Will, man, I'm telling you, we always say part two, but this one right here, I think we're gonna have to do something with this in terms of bringing you back to actually sit down and talk to some, because you have a very good insight in your mindset. I love it, because what you said is, I think a big lesson that I took away, and I think other people should take away, is when you said you make a choice. So when you, even if you're at the lower position than somebody that's up here, you made the choice to be here. So I'm not begging you to be at this table. I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. When you have that mindset, you're not coming there to say, okay, if you want to spit on me, just spit on me, sir. Right? And,
listen, I do this talk. I actually talk about resiliency and academic excellence, but I call them my life lessons for leadership. Every time something significant happens or teaches me a lesson, I add another lesson. So I'm up to 8 life lessons right now. And so those lessons are what I use to try to, I speak at universities, I'll speak to other executives about these lessons. And I just had a talk at Purdue, and I was talking to their doctoral and business management students. And I said, many times you don't realize, you're trying to think of, how do I become a good leader? How do I get into management? What do I need to do to prepare? You don't realize all the lessons you've already learned in life that will prepare you to be a good leader. So that's what I'm shining light on, that I grew up without having all this other stuff, which taught me to value people, always value people over things. That's your first life lesson. Don't try to go seeking dollars in these budgets, whatever, and then undermine your staff because you will eventually erode at your whole foundation. Like, value people over things, right? And I literally go through those life lessons from my brother was murdered. Like, you got to pause and enjoy life, right? You can't go 100 miles an hour. You got to be able to, like, those are the life lessons, the purpose, the passion, right? Those are the key things that I think, as you look at those things, mentor is one as well. Get your mentor and be intentional about, I'm at position 1 and I want to be at position 5. Are you sure you want to be at position 5? Yes. When do you want to get to position 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's figure out how you want to get there. First, let's talk about position 2. Are you okay? Are you going to be okay with positions 2, 3, 4? Because those have to happen before you come to 5, right?
Yeah.
And those may not be as comfortable as what you're thinking about 5.
Yeah.
But are you willing to endure that before you get there? Like, you need to start thinking about that. And ultimately, where do you want to be? And I think you just figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Love it. Man, well, man, appreciate you, dude, for just coming on, man, and just to sharing with our travelers, man. It was good for me too, man. I mean, just refreshing, just hearing the words that you're saying. See your walk, man, and what you've done, and the example that you've been in this world so far, man, and all the organizations that you've been at, and I know the communities that you're in. So really appreciate you for what you're doing, man. Wish you nothing but the best. Prayers to you, man, as you continue to just grow your territory and just grow your influence in this space. So, travelers, man, this is honestly, I think this is, and I don't think I told Marlon this yet, but this is the last episode or guest episode for this season.
What a note to leave it on.
Yeah. It's the last one for this season, man. And man, you guys, this has been a phenomenal time that we've had with you guys this season. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, I will have my office back. It won't be a picture. You guys hung out with me this whole season with the picture in the background. So I appreciate you, but I promise you the office will be here when we come back. We may do one more episode, just me and Marlon, in the meantime. But guys, man, thank you so much for following us on this journey. Will, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Why don't you share with the travelers? I know you mentioned on LinkedIn that you're on there. If there's anywhere they can connect with you, maybe they listen to this episode and they want to see if there are any opportunities to work with the organizations that you're at. How can they get that information as well?
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn is probably the best way, especially if you want to talk business. William Carroll. It's underneath my name on LinkedIn with Rochester Regional Health. Look me up and let's talk business. We got a lot of positions open and we can make some. So
there we go. Nah, love it. All
right. I'll send you.
All right. Good to see y'all. Thank y'all so much for the opportunity and for the good memories too.
Hey, one love, man. We got to get together soon again.
Yes, in the meantime, y'all stay safe. I'll be praying for your wife too, man.
All right. Appreciate it. Take it easy, man. All right. Have a good one. All right. Peace. And travelers, we'll see you next week at the same time, at the same place on the Success Journey Show. All right, everyone. Peace.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.